Hey everybody, welcome to Extreme Food Reviews, and today I'm alone. This never happens. It just so happens that today Megan is working, Jonas is out and about, and I'm alone in my house. You hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of nothing. That never happens. So I thought I'd take advantage of this time to show you how easy it is to make a simple, great tasting hot sauce right in your own kitchen with some of the things that you can buy right at your local grocery store. So let's get to it.
Let's eat it!
So today we're going to use some very simple ingredients, which includes 3 different types of peppers. Poblano, Habanero, chili pepper. The reason we use different peppers is to have a depth of flavor. Depth of flavor is everything. If you have just one pepper using in a sauce, then you're not going to get anything more than the flavor of that one pepper. And what we want to do is have levels of flavor that come out in the sauce to create something deeper than just a single flavor. This is a mango habanero sauce we're going for, so we do have a mango here. Now, there are a lot of different types of mangoes, and we're kind of early in the season. This one is a Bonoganapoly mango, but you can use yellow mangoes, green mangoes, orange. You're going to see thousands of varieties, but any one is perfectly acceptable to use. One thing that really brings out the flavor of the peppers is heat. So what I like to do is take our peppers, and be careful when you open these things up because you don't want to put your hands anywhere near your eyes. The capsaicin in some of these can set you off, like being pepper sprayed at a riot. Not that I would know. So what we do is we just cut off the tops and we just slice them in half so that we can take these peppers and put them over some heat. We're doing a small batch, so we're doing 4 habaneros. We're going to do 1 poblano. For this particular recipe, I'm using 8 chilies. Now that we have our peppers cut open, we want to take these over and put them on the heat. So let's go over to the stove. So now we're back over to the stove with a cast iron pan that I feel is my favorite way to cook. Cast iron has an old school beauty and luxury to it. It feels like my grandmother's cooking again. We want to take a pan on a medium heat, put a little olive oil in there, drizzle to prep the pan. And we're going to take all of our peppers, we're going to take our chilies, and our habaneros, and our poblanos, and I've cut up a half of a sweet onion to add into that mix. We don't want to caramelize these so much as we just want to try to open them up with a little heat and bring the flavor out. I will add, when you're cooking any kind of pepper on an open flame or even boiling them, you want to try to make sure you have plenty of ventilation. Right now, I'm not running the vents in this house because the physical noise of the vent would preclude me from being able to talk to you at the same time, so I might get choked out a little bit while I'm doing this. But that's all right. But it's a little pleasure without a little pain. Some of these habaneros are just starting to brown up, just so. We just want to get them to that point where they're just starting to get some color and bring out the flavor. And there comes the coughing. Now, while our peppers continue to cook off, we're going to take our mango and we're going to cut it open. Now, there's 1,000 ways to cut a mango. In this scenario, we're not looking for anything pretty because all we want is the pulp from the mango so that we can get that into a food processor or blender, whichever you have, to get the pulp out. Once you've got the pieces cut from the pit, you can actually pull the mango right from the peel. Now, each mango has a different flavor to it. You're going to find some are a little more sweet, some have a little more tartness to them, and it depends on the seasonality of the mango on what you get. So go to your local grocery store, find what mango is available, pick it up. So there's our mango pulp. Don't I look pretty? So the next thing we're going to do is get out a food processor, or you could do this in a blender as well. Either one will work. And we're going to take our mango pulp and we're going to put that right inside of our food processor. Now to that we want to add any type of vinegar. A regular off-the-shelf white vinegar is fine. You can use an apple cider vinegar depending on your flavor. But we're going to put a half a cup of vinegar into our food processor. The reason we add vinegar is vinegar actually helps to preserve our sauces and have them have a longer shelf life or refrigerator life depending on where they end up. Now to that we are going to add 1 tablespoon of molasses, good old-fashioned molasses, black like my soul. We then want to add a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now you can use any type of salt. I have many different types of salt that we pick up along the way. Black salt, I've got some apple vinegar salt here. Any type of salt that you like will add flavor depths, but a good way to start is just a nice kosher salt. It has a nice flavor to it, it does good things. We also want to add a half a teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to add a half a teaspoon of allspice. And then we want to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cloves. What we're going for here is a very sweet heat habanero sauce. Now the next step is you want to get some regular canned diced tomatoes. Nothing special, I go for the unsalted version, and we want to add a half a cup of diced tomatoes with the juice. Next we're going to bring over and add the peppers that we were browning on the stove. And we want to puree that down to a nice fine mince. As with anything, we always want to taste and see where we're at. Sometimes we need to add a little more salt or a little more pepper, or bring the sweetness up. And the only way to know how that is taste what you're cooking. Well, that's fantastic already. I don't want chunks clogging up the bottle too much, so I'm going to go a little longer with the puree on this one. A few minutes in the food processor will get our consistency to where we want it to be. The next step is we're going to get this into a pot and get it back onto the stove to heat it up and start letting those flavors meld together. So now we're coming back to the stove with our puree, and we're going to get this into a pot on medium heat, and we're going to let this sit for a little bit, maybe do a slow boil. It's a medium heat. We're just trying to get this thing to move around, trying to get these flavors to mix. Heat always brings out the flavors. We've already brought some of the flavors out when we were in the cast iron pan. Now we're going to let these flavors meld together under the influence of a nice pot and some heat. The color is already fantastic. I mean, look at that color. It's got all the colors in it. We can see all the reds and greens from the different peppers. The depth of flavor in this is going to be fantastic. We're going to cover this and let it come up to temperature a bit. We don't want this to overboil. We just want this to get warm enough where the flavors start to work together. Heat does a wonderful thing in releasing the flavors of all the elements of the things involved. So now we've had our sauce on the stove for about 5 minutes under a medium-low heat. We're just trying to get these flavors to blend together. We don't want a heavy boil. Whenever you put a lid on top of a pot, it helps keep the moisture in, but it's also going to bring up that boiling point. It makes things boil faster when things are closed in, kind of like a pressure cooker. So keep an eye on it. Try to keep the ingredients moving. That's one of the most important things. Oh, look at this color. Well, another important thing, how do you know how your product is going to turn out if you don't taste it? Now, of course, I'm not going to taste it with the spoon I'm mixing with. I use a separate spoon. That would be disgusting. Oh my goodness, that's delicious. I can taste the tang from the mango. I've got the heat of the habaneros, then the Thai chili peppers in there, and the poblanos. Nice even layers of different heat textures and pepper flavors. All we used was 3 peppers: habanero, Thai chili peppers, poblanos, and for our sauce base we had 1 mango. We used some white vinegar and a little molasses. I did use some canned diced tomatoes to help bring the sauce up. Now you can do that with fresh tomatoes. I like canned diced tomatoes because it already has some of the juices in there. It's been steeping in its own juice. So sometimes I like those flavors for the amount we're using. I could have used fresh. That's up to you. The spices we put in were just kosher salt and pepper, some ground allspice, and some ground cloves. It couldn't be simpler. These are things that are probably hanging around in most of your kitchens already. Well, the spices anyway. I don't know if you have mangoes and peppers sitting in your kitchen. I do in mine. But they're readily available from a local supermarket. So run out and grab what you need. This is so much better than the sauces you're going to buy off the shelf. Also, another thing is I could have added garlic. Garlic is a nice flavor that adds onto this, but the more levels of different flavors I bring in, it'll increase the depth, but it also moves away from the flavors of the peppers themselves. And in this, I wanted to show you how to make a simple sauce that you could really taste the peppers, have a little heat, have a little sweet, and you could put this on anything. So we're going to turn the heat down on this, and we're going to bring it back over to the cutting board. So here we are back at the cutting board. We got a few nice clean bottles, and we have a funnel. Sort of really important to getting the stuff into the bottles. And we're going to take what we just took off the stove and get it into the bottles. I said to you that the heat does a couple of things. It helps meld those flavors together, but another thing it does is when you bottle it, that heat going in here, if we have a warm sauce in a bottle capped, when it cools down, it actually creates a bit of a dry vacuum seal and keeps that seal fresh in our bottles. So let me get that and bottle up some of this for you. There you go. Cap on. And we're going to have a perfect sweet heat habanero sauce. Now I've got enough left for a second bottle here. I'll do 2 bottles up. If any of my subscribers are interested in tasting this, let me know. I'll send you the other bottle out on me. Tell me what you think of it. It's real easy to do. I want to encourage my subscribers out there who may think cooking is a chore. It's something you can't do. You can make your own fantastic tasting hot sauces for not only a fraction of the price of what you pay in some of the stores and online, but you can get the flavors that you really like in a hot sauce just by sitting down and spending a little time in the kitchen. It doesn't take time at all. This was all very simple, very quick. Boom, we're bottled, ready to go. Hit that subscribe button right there if you like what you've seen today. Like this, comment, tell me the kinds of sauces you've made. We'd love to hear them. So there we go, a very simple hot sauce recipe that you can make at home with some very simple ingredients that are available in your local grocery store. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Do you have pasta clang in the background? I do. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you this Friday, 7 a.m. for a new episode of The Chamber. Peace out.